Hello, Magi here, and welcome back to another episode of Interesting Touhou Facts. This time, we'll be focusing on one subject, and that will be the Great Hakurei Barrier. In case you didn't know, Gensokyo is divided from the outside world due to this barrier. Whatever is in the barrier, stays in the barrier, whether you like it or not. There's a lot of things regarding the Hakurei Barrier that it definitely deserves its own video. So without further ado, let's begin the interesting Touhou Facts number 33. Number 1. As mentioned, the Great Hakurei Barrier, which I'll shorten to barrier to make my life simpler, is the border between Gensokyo and the outside world. This allows yokai to survive within Gensokyo even when outside humans no longer believe in them. Pretty much their only way to survive at that point. The Hakurei Shrine is located on the border, and it's believed that Youkai lives somewhere along the border as well, though not near the shrine. I guess it would be convenient for the Gap Yokai to live along the borders. The barrier was first created by humans in Magi 18 or simply 1885 CE, and later reinforced by yokai. While the idea was first highly controversial among yokai, the idea of being trapped in a certain confined area doesn't exactly sound pleasant, I must admit. This led to much infighting between them, but it is now almost universally accepted. Youkai is widely acknowledged as the architect of the barrier, and it is said to have first motioned for it around 400 years before its actual creation. Damn! Youkai must be on point to have thought of the barrier before it was even needed. Although Yuko has speculated that not even Youkai could create a barrier of this level by herself. It's so important is the barrier to Gensokyo that its creation marks year 0 of the Gensokyo calendar. The Hakurei Shrine, which exists on both sides of the border, is supposed to be its only gateway. However, the phenomena of spiriting away can also cause objects and even living beings to slip through the border at random, particularly if they have started to be forgotten by the outside world. Just like in a previous episode how I mentioned that one of Reimu's donation was some wine from the outside world. For instance, the crested ilbis, which is a type of bird, started to become more common in Gensokyo after the Japanese variety were recognized as extinct, and paper started showing up more frequently with the rise of digital storage. Outside humans are not protected by the spell card rules, or devil's contract anyway, and thus can be freely preyed on by yokai, but they may choose to become citizens of the human village, or request for the Hakurei Shrine Maiden to send them home. I'd say go to Reimu real quickly if you want to survive. Even in modern times, it is still possible for yokai, gods, and even entire locations to pass through the border and enter Gensokyo. Some of the locations are the ruined Western Mansion, which is the place the Prison River Sisters used to live, the Scarlet Devil Mansion, and the Moria Shrine. While some yokai, mostly Yukari, Nu, and the Sashiki Warashi, which I'll have to talk about what that yokai is in the future, have shown the ability to exit Gensokyo and travel to the outside world. It appears that this requires uncommon knowledge, abilities, and or conditions, as other characters seem to think of it as nigh impossible. I'd bloody hope it would take some unique skills to pass through the barrier. The barrier would be pretty pointless if everyone and their bloody grandmas could pass through it. It is believed that yokai go on hunting trips through the border to gather humans from the outside world as food, disguising the kidnappings as stories of people running away from home. But it is unclear how and when these are performed. Kinda creepy, I won't lie. As a border of common sense, the barrier is designed to affect only living things and their creations while allowing natural forces to pass through. Hence, the barrier is permeable to sunlight, and Gensokyo's rivers are connected to those of the outside world. It would bloody suck if the barrier didn't allow sunlight and water in. The spaces on the edge of the barrier is non-Euclidean. Humans who attempt to leave the barrier will find themselves encountering the same landmarks over and over without ever getting any further from where they started. Kinda like if you were in a Flintstones cartoon and the background is looping over and over and over. Urban legend in Limbo describes two ways of traveling through the barrier. True, complete passage can be achieved by punching a hole in the barrier and walking through. Cause punching a hole through the barrier and having the Shrine Maiden beat your ass is a smart idea. However, beings may also enter or leave Gensokyo by being spirited away. Most such travelers have little physical presence, sometimes to the point of appearing only as a shadow, and will eventually be pulled back home, remembering the trip as if it were only a dream, kinda like Sumuriko did in the beginning, I believe anyway. In fact, at least some of these trips have taken the form of literal dreams, with the traveler's mind returning to their body when they awake. It is possible for a dreamer in the outside world to bring back objects from Gensokyo in this manner, like Maribel I believe as well. The barrier is weaker around objects which carry the spiritual energy of the outside world. Usually this effect is barely noticeable outside of concentrated sources like the occult balls. However, when one of the trees around the Hakurei shrine was killed, a tree from the outside world was drawn to replace it, causing the surrounding areas to become distorted. On another occasion, Rinosuke was briefly drawn into the outside world due to concentrating on an MP3 player while Raymond was nearby tampering with the barrier. Who would have thought an MP3 player could link you to the outside world? I sure didn't. As shown in Silent Sinner, the similarity of the Great Hakurei barrier to the barrier which surrounds the lunar capital means that it is possible to travel between them with a lunar veil or even a specifically constructed rocket without ever passing through the outside world, which makes sense. I mean, if a rocket looking like that was shot out of Japan and went into space, I'm sure the fucking world would be asking a lot of questions, especially Japan itself. As Yukari's first attempt at invading the moon predates the barrier's construction, it is possible that Gensokyo's barrier was at least partially based on that of the lunar capital. The capital is advanced in technology and magic, so it wouldn't hurt to learn a few tricks from them. But yeah, this basically covers everything I could find about the barrier. A lot of info to be discussed, but it's only natural given how complex the barrier can be. Hopefully you guys learned a lot from it, and are amazed at how crazy the barrier can be. Like always, if you enjoyed this episode, give it a like and subscribe. And like always, this is Magi and thank you for watching.